All right, so I've pretty much painted all the big areas in my picture. You'll notice some little small spots that don't have any paint to it. We're gonna fix all of that in the in the shading step. We're gonna try it, and that's kind of how it's written. Also the way I did the hair, there's a lot of little lines and it would kind of take forever to try. And so I'm also going to try to color the hair that way too. So both eyebrows, top of the head, and the beard. Um, and also we can see that right here, some of the skin tone got into the little bit of the mustache. We also try and fix that with that shading step too when I color in the beard. So if you come across that, don't don't worry too much about it. Another thing too that I forgot to mention was at this point, I'm pretty much done with the pen tablet as of right now, at least until we get to the um, the shading part. You'll probably want to use it then. Um, but so from here, what we're going to want to do is we are going to expand. And this is where those little hairline fractures will definitely come into play. You'll probably see them in the hair. You'll just see, and that is why we made a copy of this outline layer first. Um, so right here, if we go to object, and we can see that expand is gray. It's not available, and the reason that is because we have nothing selected. Um, so we need to make sure that we do select everything. So if we hit Control A again, or we hit select and then all, now if we go to object, we can see that we can expand. So we're going to go ahead and expand. We're going to click on expand. This should pop up. We want all that checked, and then we're going to hit OK. Now there may be a delay again because of the size of the image and everything, and um, uh, the computer's not having enough RAM really to run like this type of thing. It'll still run the program, but so if we zoom back out with Control minus, you can even hit Control 0. That'll kind of just give you a quick way to go all the way. So if you're in, and then you hit Control 0, it'll just give you a quick snapshot jump to the full size of the image. So right now it kind of looks like a mess because we have all of this selected. So if we go to select and then deselect or shift Control A, now we can kind of see. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to click Y on our keyboard, or we're going to click on the magic wand tool, which you may remember from Photoshop. So if we click on this, and then we click on hold shift, maybe click on the other areas, it looks like it's picking the based off the color. So it's kind of selecting all of that stuff. And then if we come in here, we might want to zoom in. If you painted your eyes, we're going to probably want to zoom in and make sure that we click on that. So hold shift. That way we make sure that we just get that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make a new layer. And we are going to move that layer probably below layer 2. I mean, right now we have layer 2 off anyways, so it doesn't matter. You can also see when I'm zoomed in this close, we see some of those hairline fractures now, right? We see a lot of that stuff. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, like right here, you can see where I colored in some of the hair with actually scribbling. We see all that. And unfortunately, a lot of the time that will print. So this is why we will do it this way in order to get the best print possible. So from here, we can zoom back out. So I'm going to hit Control 0 just so we can see. So we have that stuff selected. And we're going to hit Control X. And now pretty much all that color is gone. We're going to click, make sure we highlight that new layer that we put on there. And we're going to hit Control F, not Control V. We want to hit Control F. That way it pastes it in the exact same spot that it was. So now we see that there's a blue outline around the selection, because we can see right here that a darker shade of blue is that layer's color. So now what that affords us is the ability to use the pen tablet to color in shade areas, to color in areas, and actually not have to worry about going over your outlined area. So if I am going to go ahead and hit Shift Control A, so I'm going to deselect. So you can see all those hairline fractures. But if I turn that off, and then I turn on the original one, those hairline fractures are gone. So that is why we did that. So now what you're going to want to do is make sure that you are on this layer, and that now I would plug back in. If you did unplug your drawing tablet, I would plug that back in, and I would come in here, and I would, try to find, let's try, here, I'll do one for the jacket, just so you can kind of see, and I'll zoom in. So I'm going to use this darker shade of gray right here for that. I want to use the Shift B or the blob brush tool right here. If we remember, it's underneath the paintbrush, if that's still on top. So we want the blob brush tool, or Shift B if you like the shortcuts. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control plus. I'm going to zoom in. I'm also at this point, let's go ahead and save. So let's go File and Save, or Control S. Let's see, I think it's no, it's not done saving, because we can see the cursor. So that may take a little while. Probably not as long as when you merge live paint, but we can see it's moving fairly quick. So I'm going to go ahead and go down now that we see the blob brush tool is back, and I'm going to, I can adjust the size of my brush again with the right bracket on my keyboard. And if I go ahead and color, it looks like I've just colored over my black outline, but we can see that it stays underneath. So again, with the pressure, maybe you try to go, light pressure, because you can do that. And then, full pressure when you want it to be thicker. You can vary that line. And you can see that it's going underneath. And yet, in the written tutorial, he does not have you make a copy of that outlined layer, which is something that I strongly recommend, especially if you want it to print the best way possible, because we can see right here just how much better it looks versus that. And the layer 2 copy, from now on, you could probably get rid of it. You could save it there, or just keep it there for the time being, just in case. But we shouldn't need it anymore. So this is kind of the process that you're gonna maybe try out with your shading. So, and again, use the left and right brackets, adjust the size of your brush, adjust the pressure that you're using, from the pen from the pen to the tablet. That way you get kind of like a thick line, and then maybe kind of thin it out. But you can, if you can use your cross hatching as a guide, as maybe areas to put in shading. But remember, if you kind of go too far over here, it's not that big a deal because it's underneath that layer. So it comes in very handy. I used to do this with like the pen tool, and then merging the light paint and get all very complicated and all that stuff. I think this way is, especially if you like to color, maybe not even necessarily draw, but if you like to color, this is kind of along those lines. I think this way is the better way. I used to also do the original drawing and inking in Photoshop and then transferring it over and then image tracing it and then expanding it. But as we saw from that, you would tend to get those hairline fractures, and I just think this is the best way. Plus, when you image trace, you are leaving a lot of decision making to the program when it does that. And that's not necessarily always the best thing. Whereas when you are drawing in the program, all of these cross hatching, like thin lines, are exactly what you're getting. Whereas if you were to do that in Photoshop and then image trace, sometimes it may take all of these little lines and just make it one solid black shape, which is maybe not necessarily what you wanted. But yeah, so after that, we'll continue with in the next step.